Hello everyone. Good evening everyone, folks. A quick check with AV. I think we are live, we are here. Hello everyone. Hello Athar, hello Palak. Good evening. So yes, so we are back with the game. So going to be the first class on Quant for you here with me. In case if you have missed out on last class AMA, or if in case if you have missed me out, the name is Bhaskar, Bhaskar. That's how you spell my name. So a quick introduction. I happen to be a CAT coach. I've been helping people prepare for CAT for the last 11 plus years. So my strong domain, at least that's what I call, happens to be Quant and ALR. But here I'm going to specifically focus on the Quant section here. So it's going to be super fun. Math has been this one thing that I've lived with all my life. So I like it. I love it. Hopefully ensure that I'll also make you feel the same way. To begin with, we'll start with this one topic called time and work. So this is going to be our class. So we'll talk about time and work. We'll have a bunch of questions on it. We'll run through the basics. We'll talk about it. Meanwhile, we'll address a few questions, a few tips and techniques every now and then, and that will keep us engaged. I'll try to keep it short. I'll try to stick with the time, but then there is always going to be a spillover, especially when it comes to quant. So I never stick with time. So if it has a spillover, hang on, stay tight. Maybe there is something important happening. Right. So in case if you are people who are looking to prepare for CAT in English, we know that, just give me a sec. In English, we know that English has been our comfort language for some people. In case if you happen to be there, in case if you are looking for an all guns English coaching here, English prep, if you want to join the Telegram channel, scan the QR code that will take you to MBA Wallah English, where you get all the necessary stuff for your prep. Right. So we'll quickly go to the class. Let's, without any further ado, we'll talk about a bunch of things and then we'll jump in. Oops, says percentage. Fractions. When I talk about time and work, the first and foremost thing that I have to be sure about is some understanding about fractions, percentages and ratios. Three important aspects, three important stuff. Now, why time and work? Why did I choose time and work to begin with? Despite the fact fraction, percentages, ratios happen to be being the basics, I like time and work to begin with. The other part is time and work happens to be a very important topic when it comes to a competitive exam. You cannot skip time and work when you are doing a placement paper or a competitive paper. It is inevitable. Like arithmetic, time and work, you will definitely find some question on it, and it is relatively easy to understand the concepts and then probably crack it. So have one good idea about the fractions, about your percentages, about your ratios, which is really important. That's the foundation here. In case if you have missed out on the fractional part, you have to understand how to convert a percentage into a fraction or a fraction into a percentage. That's nice. That's important, right? So to begin with, let's have one quick look at all the fractions to percentages. You might have probably done this earlier. If you haven't, when we do classes on percentages, I'll run you through all of them. Simple. When I say 50%, our mind says half, right? You don't count 50% of a value. You say half of a value. It's easy to look at it that way. So every time I say 1 by 2, I say 100 by 2, which is 50%. 100 by 3, that's 33.33%. So these fractional values are important to begin with. Now, what is the understanding of ratios when it comes to time and work? So there is a ratio of efficiency, there is a ratio of time, there is a ratio of work done. There's a bunch of things that deals with ratios here. When we say thrice as efficient, we call it 1:3. So the ratio part is also important here. So what do we do with ratios here? So every time I say ratios, we say, oops, one second. Okay. So every time we talk about ratios, we understand we write anything in the format of A is to B. So what do you mean by A is to B? When A has two parts, let's say we call it 2:3, when we say A is 2, B is 3. For every time A is 2, B will be 3. Or we can write 2 is to 3 as 4 is to 6 or 6 is to 9. That's the understanding. Or you can also write A is to B as A by B. Know this, this is important. So what is the relevance of ratios in time and work? There is something called our variations, direct variation and indirect variation, or proportionality, directly proportional, indirectly proportional. Now to give you some glimpse of this question idea, let's quickly say, let's say A can do a work in 10 days and then B can do the same work in 15 days. It's the same task. We are looking at the same task in two different places for two different people. A can finish a task in 10 days, whereas B can finish the same task in 15 days. Now to go with, what is the ratio of their time taken? If I write ratio of time, we call it 10 is to 15, which in turn becomes 2 is to 3. So the ratio of time happens to be 2 is to 3. From this, what can I say? Now think about this. There is a task. I can finish it in 10 days. There is a friend of mine who takes 15 days. What can you tell about us? 10 days for me to finish, 15 days for my friend to finish. From this, what is that understanding that you have? I'm not giving you any other data. I take 10 days to finish something. Someone takes 15 days to finish something. So what will be the output? We immediately say, hey, I am more efficient. I do more work. I am faster when it comes to work, or my ability to do the task is more, which is what we call it as efficiency. Lesser the time you take, more the work you do. More the time you take, lesser the work you do. So time and efficiency are inversely proportional. Every time I say time is inversely proportional to my efficiency. This idea is absolutely important. Talking about relativity between time and efficiency, because my work done will always be time into efficiency. Look at my total work, the total overall time that I work for, and my efficiency per unit time is my total work. So when one goes up, the other one has to come down. They are inversely proportional. So this idea is important. So every time I look for the ratio of time for my efficiency, I'll simply inverse it. Every time I get my efficiency ratio, I simply inverse it to get my time ratio. So this idea, this fundamental is important. So sometimes I'll say a ratio of A is to B is 2 is to 3. So time taken is 3 is to 2. So we quickly switch to that. So time and efficiency ratio, we switch it to get the other one. This idea is utterly important when we solve questions. I'm going to have one look at the chat to see if there are any questions. Any questions? Are we good here? Great. Now, let's go to some questions maybe that will give us some better idea here. I'm going to talk about working with different efficiencies here. And I'm going to start with some simple elementary level question. I'm going to solve this in a way that we usually do, and let's see if there is a flavor that we can add. Some of us use the flavor, some of us use a standard method. There are a lot of names that people use over the time. I'm going to broadly classify them into two types of solving. One is called as a fractional method. Two, we call it the LCM method. Is there a difference between the fractional method and the LCM method? To be honest, there is no difference except for one small change here. One slight change makes a fractional method solving to an LCM method solving. Which one is the best way to solve? It depends on the question, but there are some fundamental questions that go better with fractional, some go better with LCM method. I'll tell you when to follow what and how to follow it. I have an inclination towards one of these methods. I'll tell you what it is when we look at it. So let's have a read at the question and see how it's done. So A can complete a task in 10 days while B can complete the same task in 15 days. Both of them work together. In how many days can they complete the task? Beautiful question, simplest of the lot. I want to see what the data says. I've taken the same data that I gave you for my example. So A takes 10 days to finish a task, whereas B takes 15 days to complete the same task. Now, what is the rate here? So there's a nice way to solve this question. Let me give you an example. Now, there is an underlying assumption that we use every time we solve time and work. Sorry. And what is that assumption? I'll give you an example that will probably relate to. Imagine this. You have 5 days for an exam that's happening. Today is Tuesday. Let's say Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday is a test. You have a test on Monday and there are 5 units to complete and you have 5 days to prepare for this test. Let's assume that this test is super important. It's going to be a career break point in your it's going to be a breaking point in your career. 5 days to prepare, 5 units to prepare. I am not asking you what will you do, but there is a theory, there is a plan that we all come up with. What is that plan? I'm looking at 5 units to complete. I'm looking at 5 days remaining. What is our understanding here? We quickly say, hey, that's easy. That's 1 unit per day, right? That's 1 unit per day. Or can I say out of 5 units, we are completing 1/5? That's a plan. I know we don't execute it. If there are 5 days to complete a task, to prepare for an exam and there are 5 units, we pick our books on the last night in the middle of the hour and we search for the book and we prepare for 6 to 7 hours important questions and then you go write the test. That's a story for another day. But our usual plan, our understanding happens to be, I'm going to do 1 unit per day, right? Or if I can do a task in 2 days, you say in 1 day I can finish half the task. I give you deadline to finish a task. I give you 2 days. You will say half the task I'll do it on day 1, the remaining half on day 2. But we don't do it. We take it to the last day. Again, that's what we execute is not our problem. How we plan it is all that matters. If I give you 3 days to finish a task, you will say 1/3 on the first day, 1/3 on the second day, 1/3 on the third day. 33% on the first day, 33% on the second day, 33% on the third day. On a percentage basis is what we do. Instead of writing it as percentages, we write it as fractions. If I give you 2 days, you will say 50% on day 1, 50% on day 2. You think it as percentages, I'm switching it to fractions. That's why we call the first method to be fractional method. Now, if I say A takes 10 days to complete a task, in 1 day, can I say he will finish 1/10 of the work? A will finish 1/10 of the work. What about B? He will finish 1/15 of the work. Yes. A will do 10% of the work. B will finish 1/15 of the work. Right? Sounds nice. But the question says they work together. In how many days will they complete the task? In that case, 1/10 is completed by A plus 1/15 is completed by B. The result will be amount of work done in 1 day. So what is 1/10 plus 1/15? We take the LCM to be 30. So this will be 3 times 3 plus 2. That is 5/30, 1/6. What do you mean by 1/6 here? It clearly says if A and B work together, they can finish 1/6 of the work in 1 day. This 1/6 is your efficiency now. The combined efficiency of A and B, right? First day 1/6, second day 1/6, third day 1/6. So how many days will it take for them to complete the task? Take the reciprocal of the value, you will happen to get 6 days. This happens to be your fractional method, right? Any questions? I'll repeat it once more in case if you have missed out on anything. A can finish a task in 10 days. B can finish the same task in 15 days. They work together. How many days will it take? We say that, hey, A can complete 1/10 of the task. B can complete 1/15 of the task in 1 day each. If they work together, we take 1/10 plus 1/15, which is 5/30, or 1/6 of the task is completed in 1 day. So to complete the total work, it takes 6 days. Simple as it can get, nothing complex. This is what we call the fractional method. Now people have various names at various points. The name doesn't matter. Of course, the name matters when it comes to my name. You cannot misspell my name. But here, some people call it the standard method. Some people call it the percentage method. There are multiple names that people use at multiple points. End of the day, the idea, the structure and core is this. Clear? Any doubts? Are we done here? Beautiful. We'll do one more question. Now it'll be like, hey, this method sounds nice. This method sounds interesting. Why don't we use it all the while? Why should I have another method? Should I really learn one more method to solve these type of questions? If you are thinking about that, maybe this question can change your mind. It's a nice question, again, simple one, but now comes the tricky part here. Look at the question. P, Q, R, there are 3 people. Now if all 3 of them work together, you will say 1 by A plus 1 by B plus 1 by C. 1 by P, 1 by Q, 1 by R, you add them. If all 3 of them have worked together. But is that the case here? Here comes the catch. The question has something that is going to throw us a little off guard. Don't worry, we'll get back, we'll bounce back and do better. What does the question say? P, Q and R can complete a task in 10, 12 and 15 days respectively. If all 3 of them start the work, but P leaves after 2 days, Q leaves after another 2 days, while R stays to complete the entire work. How many days did R work overall? Now in this question, P, Q and R are not working together throughout the time. Someone's joining, all 3 of them start, but then they happen to have some misunderstanding and P says, I'm not going to associate with you anymore, and he quits. He doesn't like working with Q and R. He says, done is done. Maybe Q and R is a toxic environment. They don't want, P doesn't want to work with them. So he says, hey, I'm done with you folks. I'm quitting. I don't want to be here. And then they say Q and R work for some more time. They see what's going to happen. But then Q realizes, hey, maybe P was right. Working with R isn't that fruitful. Maybe working with R is not a nice idea. He takes another 2 days and then he also quits. Now R feels like he's being left out. He is to be blamed. He says, hey, I'm here. I'll finish this work. He stays back and completes the entire work. Now the question is, how long did they work together? Nice question. Let me take the data once again. P is 10 days. Q is 12 days and R is 15 days. Right? Now imagine this. When I say half the work and half the work, we are looking at 100% of the work done. Right? 100%. How do I represent 100 as a fraction? You write 100 by 100, which is 1. In this case, for all fractional method, the total work will always be 100%, which is 100 by 100, that is 1. End of the day, the total work for fractional method will always be 1. Why 1? 100%. It's the idea. Right. So I write all the work done. When I equate it on the right hand side, it will become 1. Because the job is completed. So it will be 1. So let's plot what is happening over here and try to write an equation based on it and then see if we can solve it. So P, Q, R, all 3 of them started the work. Right. So what happened? P leaves after 2 days. That means For 2 days, it was P, Q and R, all three of them together, right? So how do you write it? P can do 1/10 of the work plus Q can do 1/12 of the work plus R can do 1/15 of the work. This is 1 day's work done by P, Q and R together, right? But they did not work for 1 day. They worked for 2 days. That means twice the amount of will be done. This is 1 day's work. I need 2 days work. What will you do? Simply multiply this by 2. I'm going to multiply this entire part. This is the 2 days work first to begin with. And then what happened? This bugger left. He didn't want to work. He said, I quit. Either Q and R are bad partners, or P is lazy enough to not continue. He says, hey, I'm quitting. I don't want to work with you. So he has quit. Who's working now? It's Q and R. So Q's 1 day's work will be 1/12 plus 1/15. But how many days did this happen? Q leaves after another 2 days, which means that first 2 days it was PQR. Next 2 days it was Q and R. So I'm going to simply say plus 2 times of this value. Q and R work together for 2 days. And finally, for some number of days, R had to work alone. How many days? That we don't know. I'm going to call it some A times of 1/15. I hate writing X, so I'm going to stick with A. I don't want to use a variable X. We'll stick with A. Any variable works. So can I say this is the total work? Solve for this, we'll get our answer. Right? Simple? Simple? Not really. You can solve this and get the value of A, we are through. Yes, I'm not denying you that. But my question is, this does take some time. And also our minds don't comprehend fractions so well. We're comfortable multiplying and dividing fractions. But adding and subtracting fractions might not happen effortlessly. It takes some effort from us, and sometimes we also fumble. That's why fractional method doesn't help us every time. I'm not saying it won't work. I can solve this. I can write this entire equation, solve for this equation and get it done. For the sake of the class, let's do it. I'm going to take the LCM here. LCM of 10, 12 and 15, 45, 60 is the LCM. So 6 times this is 6, 12 is 5, 15 is 4, that's 2 times. Plus, this is again LCM is 60, 2 times of 5 plus 4 plus, I'm going to write this as A times of 4/60. Simply for convenience purpose, all the denominators are 60. I want to stick that 60. So instead of writing 1/15, I'm simply writing 4/60. No magic happening here. Don't think like how did 1/15 become 4/15? 4/60. You're multiplying the numerator and denominator by 4. We are allowed to do that, right? So solve for this. 6 plus 5 plus 4 happens to be 15 into 2. This is 30/60 plus 18/60 plus 4a/60 is equal to 1. Is solve for this, you will get 48 plus 4a is equal to 60. 4a is equal to 12. A is equal to 3, which means A separately worked for 3 days. That means R worked for 2 plus 2 plus 3. So R worked all together for 7 days. I already see some people throwing 7 here. Good job. Right? Beautiful. Time consuming. In my head it doesn't happen. In our heads it doesn't happen. Sometimes in a haste we make mistakes. I don't like this. And when it comes to your cat, every time when you go there, you are already in a pressure situation. You don't want to fumble with silly mistakes. Why give space for them? And that is why I'm going to say, hey, let's try doing this question in another way. Should be a better way. Is there a better way? The answer is yes. This is where I introduce people to a method called I remember back then when I was a kid, when I was young, I'm still young, but then back then when I started my career of teaching people, I was told that use chocolate method. Tell them chocolates. It's a fancy word. I didn't like it. It says LCM method. It might sound boring, but it is very effective. The method is absolutely effective. We'll quickly have a look at it. What is the LCM method? Why LCM method? Now, all this while, our mind was saying work in terms of percentages. The total work being in percentage, 100% of the work. Do I want that? Rather, we know that all three of them are going to work for the same task, right? I'll go to the first question to explain. We'll come back to this. We'll do the same question with LCM method and see how it works. So previously was fractional method. Now this is LCM method. So A can do a piece of work in 10 days. B can do the same piece of work in 15 days. Together, A plus B will take how many days is my question, right? This is what is being asked. Now, previous method we used percentage as work. 100% is the work. Total work is 1 as a fraction in work. Now, I want to think about, hey, let's say the work is some amount of units to be done. Like I said, I have to prepare for my exam. I didn't say exam, I said 5 units, which made a better understanding of the sum, the question, right? So I'm going to say, I'm thinking of some number of units to be done. I'm going to assume my total work. Why am I saying assume? Because any value that you put here will fly. It doesn't have to be necessarily the value that I pick. You can pick your favorite number, plug it in here, solve for this question, you will get the same answer. But hey, we call it LCM method for a reason. All I'm going to do is simply take the LCM of 10 and 15 and call that to be the total work. If you wonder why I'm doing it, if I take 100 units to be done, let's say I'm assuming 100 units is what I am doing. If I say 100 units, A can do 100 units in 10 days, which means my understanding equal amount of work every day, 10 units per day. Integer, nice, beautifully, yes, good. 100 units in 15 days, I'm going to write it as 100 by 15, which will in turn become 20 by 3 units. We came to this method to eliminate fractions and we are ending up with a fraction. Should I change the method? Change the number. 100 did not work. Rather, maybe we can go to a number that is perfectly divisible by 10 and 15. It could be any number. But once again, for convenience reasons, I'm going to pick a number which is going to be a number divisible by 10 and 15. And what would that be? 100. Palak is asking total work, always 100 units here again. No, you can take 100 if you want. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to take 100. Percentage is always 100. You cannot say 150% of the work unless or until the question has a part over there. But in general, total work is always 100%. Sorry. So can I take a number that is divisible by both 10 and 15? Yes. We already have the numbers. 30 units. Beautiful. Will it make our job simple? Let's see. 30 units completed in 10 days. So what will be the amount of work done per day? 30 divided by 10 will happen to get 3 units per day. Right? Simple. Integer, we are good. Every time I see integer, it feels like I've achieved something. Happens to us as well. Every time you get a number answer that's in decimal format, we doubt our answers. We'll be like, this is really our answer? Have I done it right? You go back and see whether you have done it right. But sometimes when the integer answer comes, we are good. Even in the test format, I like theta questions because I know the answer is definitely an integer. They won't say round it off to the nearest integer. I know if I look at my question and I happen to get a decimal answer, I know I've made some mistake. I've screwed it up somewhere. Maybe I'll go back and then probably fix it. So I like integers, so I'll stick with the integers. 30 units in 15 days, it will be 2 units per day. If A and B work together, A is capable of doing 3 units a day, B is capable of doing 2 units a day. If A and B work together, they will be doing 5 units. So first day A and B together, they do 5 units. Second day they will do another 5 units. Third day they will do another 5 units. How many days should they work to complete 30 units? 30 units divided by 5 each day will give you 6 days. Bingo. We have the same number, same answer through the time. Clear? Any doubts? Are we good here? I'm going to have one quick look at the chat to see if there's any question. Thanks to Surana. Harsh, total work LCM ले सकते हैं? Yes, you can. I in fact tell, take the LCM. Don't take any other value. You might end up with decimals. I'm telling you, you are asking me, can we take LCM? I am telling you, take the LCM. That's why it's called LCM method, right? Right? I think we are good. Yes. Brilliant. Brilliant. Now we'll go to that question and see whether this method works and is it making it elegant and simple for us. Stay tuned. Let's do it. Oh, here comes our LCM method here. Take stock. What is the data given here? P can finish it in 10 days. Q can finish it in 12 days. R can finish it in 15 days. Every time I see a question where people don't work together through the time, I draw a beautiful timeline to plot every information given in the question, which makes it easy for us. What do I mean by that? This is the beginning of the work, start of the work. This is the end of the work. So anything and everything that happens by question, we'll plot it here. That way, we'll make it simple for us. So to begin with, what happened? P, Q and R, all three of them started the work together, but P leaves after 2 days, which means that for the first 2 days, it was P plus Q plus R. Right? It has been P plus Q plus R here. Now, then what happened? Q leaves after another 2 days, which means Q and R worked for 2 days, whereas R worked alone for 3. So we found 3. It's not given here. We don't know how many days R alone worked. Right? What do? Go back. Do the same procedure. What is the total work once again? My total work will be a number that's absolutely divisible by 10, 12 and 15. I think yellow might do better. Let's see if yellow works. So what is the total work that I can take? I'm looking for a number that's divisible by 10, 12, 15. So 10 and 15 works with 30, 12 doesn't go, 60. We can take our total work to be 60 units. Right? Now, 60 units of work, P does it in 10 days, completes it in 10 days. From here we can infer that P can complete 6 units per day. Whereas Q completes 60 units in 12 days, we can nicely say he would have completed 5 units each day. R, 60 units in 15 days, so 16 by 15 he completes 4 units per day. Now this data is what I am looking for. I need this. I'm going to use this data to solve it. Now look here, for the first 2 days, who worked? It was P, Q and R. All 3 of them worked, right? So P, Q and R, in 1 day, they are capable of doing 15 units per day. If all 3 of them together work, they can give me 15 units each day. But these three folks have worked only for 2 days together, which means 15 into 2. For the first 2 days, we have already completed 30 units. 30 units done. For the next 2 days, it has been only Q and R. What is Q and R capable of doing? They are capable of doing 9 units per day. But once again, Q and R worked only for 2 days, which means that 9 units in a day, they would have completed 18 units. So in the first 2 days, already 30 units were completed. In the next 2 days, another 18 units have been completed. But we know that the total work is 60 units. In the first 4 days, we have already completed 48 units. But my total work is 60 units. So what is missing? 12 units of work has to be completed. Now, who should have worked on these 12 units? There's only one chance for it, which is R working on these 12 units. If R works for these 12 units, who is capable of doing 4 units each day? For the first day, 4. Second day, 4. Third day, 4. So to complete 12 units, R would have worked for 3 days. So it has taken us 7 days to complete the work. R worked alone for 3 days. So you have to be very careful about answering the question. The question is asking how many days did R work overall, which means R has worked here, R has worked here, R has worked here, or R has worked for 7 days. Clear? Have we got? Beautiful method. I like LCM method because of the fact that when you look at it as efficiencies and integers, it gives us some flavor, it gives us some edge over numbers. Our minds are designed to look at integers. Our minds are not comfortable with fractions on the go. Am I dumping fractional method? No. In a few set of questions, fractional methods are good, are nice. That's the standard form of solving. You can never dump it. You should understand fractional method. But you should also probably have one slight inclination towards LCM method because it is simple. At some point, you can do the entire question in your mind provided you have practice. Right? Any doubts? I'm going to have one quick look at the chat to see if everything has gone well. Are we good here? Ayush is saying, don't know why this feels, why I feel this is news. And thank you, I'm glad that. Palak is asking 3 days, 8, 7 days. I understand, Palak. I'm going to answer this in English, obviously. But I'm going to read the chart. For 3 days. No doubt about that. Read the question. What does the question ask? The question is asking how many days did R work overall? What do you mean by that? How many days did R work overall? Which means that from beginning till end, how many days did R work? R has been throughout the project, right? How many days did P work? He worked for only 2 days. How many days did Q work? Q worked for the first 2 days, then the next 2 days, that's 4 days. How many days did R work? From start till end, it has been R through the time. So he has been there for 7 days. So the answer, how many days did R work alone? Then my answer will be 3 days. Question can be anything. I can change the question. I can even ask you what percentage of the work was completed by Q. It might sound like, hey, how do I find this? What percentage of the work was completed by Q? How will you find it? If the question says, I'm going to just slightly write here, percentage of work. This could also be a question. Done by Q. How will you do this? You'll simply say total work done by Q divided by overall work. Work done by Q divided by total work is the percentage of work completed by Q, right? So what did Q do? Q worked for 4 days and he can complete 5 units in a day. That means Q has completed 20 units overall out of the entire 60 units, which is 1/3 or 33.33%. Can change the question. The same question can be P. The same question can be R. The same question can come in division of wages. What was the salary given to R? Those are layers after that. Here we are just understanding how to solve that question. Clear, Palak? Finally, Quants teacher with good handwriting. Oh, Kraken, you should. My mom should probably see this. All through my school life, I've been compared with all the girls in my class. My mom would say, see how beautifully that student writes and look at your handwriting. I'm glad there is someone who appreciates my handwriting, man. Thank you. Begin, start question. Good. But endings fall. It happens, man. It happens, Athar. Sometimes we get excited. Sometimes we feel like, hey, this question is in my slot. I'm going to crack it. Out of excitement, sometimes we slip at some time and then we happen to mark the wrong answer. Hey, it does happen. It has happened to me on multiple occasions. Trust me. I am no new to it. Sometimes in an excitement, I don't even mark. I mark it for review and leave. I don't even save. It has happened to me on multiple occasions. We'll get better, man. We'll get better. There's a glitch. There's a lag. I'm sorry, folks. I think there has to be some internet issue. Right? Are we good here, everyone? We'll solve some questions. Let's do it something interesting. I'm going to give you a few questions. We will solve a bunch of questions as we do, but I'm not going to answer it straight away. I'll give you 2 minutes. I'm not going to tell you which method to follow. I'm not going to solve it for the first 2 minutes. I want you to have a look at those questions. I want you to solve it first, and then we'll attack it. We'll attack it one at a time. Okay? We'll take one question at a time. We'll take it slowly, gradually. We will revisit all the ideas that we have discussed through the class. So the next time we meet, I'm going to add some flavor to it. I'm going to amp it up a bit, make it slightly challenging. Some trickier conditions and cases will pop up. But for today, we'll get it right. We'll get it straight. Right? So here comes your first question. Let's do the first one. Yeah. Go for it. I'm giving you a minute or two for you to read, and then we'll solve. Mayank says, अब लग रहा है Quants उतना hard भी नहीं. It is not, man. I like it. I tell people it's not as tough as you think. There are things that are tougher than Quant. Harsh, play with Dev, I take those compliments, but then I don't think the compliment really sits with me, but then yeah. Right. Let's poke around this question. Ravi can complete a piece of work in 12 days and Kiran in 18 days. If they work together for 4 days, what fraction of the work remains unfinished? So I'm going to go de facto LCM method for all questions. because I want to stick with one idea. But feel free to solve these questions in fractions. You will get the same answer. There is no change in the method. There's no different idea that comes. I want to stick with one idea through the time. Places where I might have to switch, I'll tell you, hey, this question rather feels more comfortable with fractions, and in those places I will do. But almost 95% of the times, almost 98% of the times, I stick with LCM method. With LCM method, a lot gets easier. So we'll do that. Go with this question. Ravi can complete a piece of work in 12 days. Whereas Kiran can do the same piece of work in 18 days. If they work together for 4 days, what fraction of the work remains unfinished? Simple. Total work once again. So TW in my head is total work. I'm a bit lazy when it comes to writing. Bear with me. Total work, I'm going to take the LCM of 12 and 18. That's 36 units. So Ravi can do, I'm going to go switch back to hello. I like that. So 36 units in 12 days, I can write it as 3 units per day. Kiran can do 36 units in 18 days, that's 2 units per day. So together they can finish 5 units per day for me. But they work together for 4 days only, which means 5 units a day, and that's for 4 days. If I do that, I have completed only 20 units. Only 20 units have been completed. But hey, the total work is 36 units, which means 16 units remaining. So the question is, what fraction of the work remains unfinished? I know that my total work is 36, out of which 16 units of work is remaining. So if I simplify that, 4/9, I'll say 4/9 of the work is incomplete. I see a bunch of people getting Mayank pages have gotten 1/9. I think you have made some mistake somewhere. Have a look at it. Maybe there's a calculation error that you have missed. Something might have slipped your eye. Have a look at it. 4/9 of the work is pending. Now, most of my questions I usually don't carry with options for a very specific reason. When you learn something, when I teach something, I don't want you to focus on the options in the very first go. In a learning curve, you don't worry about choosing options. Our minds are designed to say go from options sometimes. I don't want to get distracted, so most of the times I might not carry options to begin with. Gradually you'll add options, and I'll teach you how to solve a question with options. We'll go there. That's a nuance, that's a jugaad that you do, that's a trick that you follow. That's not a builder, that's not a concept builder. So don't worry that you don't have any options here. All that matters is what funda you follow. Another someone saying, Sukun says, sir, these questions are too easy. That's why we call it basics, man. We call it basics because I want to go from the crack. We are people, there are people who find this to be in the very beginning stage. They want to have an understanding. If you find it to be a little too easy today, tune in. We'll have a little more complex questions in the next class. That should also help you. But then here, you are here to learn the funda. Let's do that the right way. Yogesh is asking, मेरा BCom final चल रहा है, so can you give CAT? Absolutely. You are in a final year. People give it in the pre-final year, man. You are in the final year. You're all good to go and give it. We'll jump to the second question now. Right. Aman can design a project. Oh, yeah, I'm not reading it for you. Go for it. Raj Sharma asked, can I take 150 units? I am assuming you are asking for the previous question, the 10 and 15 days. Any number works, Raj. Any number. There is no condition on what number you pick. I pick numbers that are divisible. You can take for 10 and 15, I can take 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 300. It all matters the same. There's no nothing that says you take this number, you will get a different value. No, the idea is same. So stick with any number that comes to your head comfortably. Rajat, okay. Jatin, Rajat has 24 in their hands. Palak has 6. Krishna Yadav has 24. Yogesh is saying, आप हिंदी में नहीं पढ़ाते क्या? This batch on this channel is exclusively in English, Yogesh. In case if you want to do these classes in English, the Hindi and English variant, might have to switch to the other channel where it happens on Hindi and English both. But here on MBA Wallah English, this is a channel, this is a course designed exclusively for English only prep. Feel free to switch to the other channel for your prep. I will never stop you. But at some point, the transition from your native language to English has to happen, folks. I am not against, I will not antagonize learning it in your local tongue. I love understanding, learning a bunch of things in my local tongue, my local flavor. When I do the same classes in my local tongue, I speak Tamil, I go to a class here and I speak in Tamil, my entire flow, structure, examples, they all change to match the flavor. I am comfortable doing it. Yes, of course. But hey, this is a test that you write in English. So the transition has to happen at some point. So be prepared to do that. I'm not telling you when, where, how and what, but I'm telling you this has to happen. The sooner, the better. A lot of people are saying 24, 24, 24. Anant is asking, are these lectures in the batch enough for CAT? The fundamentals class, are they enough? Absolutely, it will not be sufficient. I will not say these classes will establish the fundamentals. If you ask me, are these classes enough to do the fundamentals? The answer is yes, undoubtedly. When you go to the batch, talk to the people, get an insight about it. When we do proper CAT level questions is what is sufficient. Sometimes we even after doing all those classes, mocks and preparation and everything, sometimes you will feel like you are under prepared. There is no point where you say this is enough. Our minds are never equipped to say that. But here on this live classes, we'll cover all the fundamentals, all the basic steps that are required. To cover the basics, the answer is yes. Entirely for CAT? Not really. Right, we'll do this one now. Arun can design a project in 12 days and Bala can do the same in 8. With the help of Charan, they complete the work in 4 days. In how many days can Charan alone complete the job? Charan alone completing the job. So we have to find time taken by Charan to complete the work all by himself. We'll do that. Was that tricky? Not really. So Arun is 12 days. Bala is 8 days. But we have been given that with the help of Charan, they complete the work, which means all 3 of them together take 4 days. Once again, individual values doesn't matter. All that matters is I want the LCM of any given number in the question. So I'll take it. The LCM of 12, 8 and 4 happens to be 24. So total work is 24 units. So A can do 2 units per day, B can do 3 units per day. C can do, A, B, C together can do 6 units per day. Interesting. Now, this is no brainer here. No prizes for guessing. Think of this. A alone can do 2 units. B alone can do 3 units. A, B, C together, they can do 6 units. What can we infer from this? I have 2 rupees. My friend has 3 rupees. 3 of us have 6 rupees. My automatic understanding will be C alone can do 1 unit per day. C is capable of you finishing 1 unit in a day, because out of the total 6 units completed by A, B and C together, there are 6. A takes 2 away, B takes 3 away, C will be doing that 1 remaining unit. So the efficiency of C is 1 unit per day, but the total work to be completed is 24 units. So 24 units divided by 1 unit per day will be 24 days. Clear? Any doubts? Are we good here? One quick look at the chat made me feel like things are going good. Nice, nice. Simple, right? To begin with, getting a gist of reading the question, which is also important. I would rather say that is the most important thing. Understanding the question matters. If you misinterpret a question at one small point, we are done. You don't have to be there. You shouldn't be there. So ensure that you have got your information right, you have gotten your data right, so that you can solve it a little more convenient. Right? We'll jump to the third one now. Again, I'll give you a little more time. Anand, with the fundamentals that you learn here, if you talk about Arun Sharma, LOD 1 and 2, LOD 1 definitely yes. LOD 2, not all questions. You might not be able to get your hands on all the questions. Maybe yes, maybe not, but I'm not giving you a certainty for LOD 2. Some of those questions can be a little advanced, a little more complex than what we see here. But LOD 1, hands down, yes. Maybe you learn a little more there, amp it up by some margin, and then you can go to LOD. Then yes, it is possible. If you are putting some time investment for your prep from your side, then yes. Just stand alone, this class, will it help? That's where my question arises. That's where I have my doubts. Mayank, I do have some issues understanding. आप हमारा भी देख लेते तो पूरा हो जाता. I didn't get that part, man. You might have to translate it for me slightly. I don't understand the context that you are using here. Right. Bhim, Bijoy and Bilal can complete a work in 24, 36 and 72 days respectively. Bhim, Bijoy and Bilal. Question cannot get any more secular than this. We have Bhim, we have Bijoy, we have Bilal. Sums it up nicely. The most secular question that you can ever come up with. In how many days will Bhim finish the work if Bijoy and Bilal assist him every third day? Here comes a nice idea. Bhim, Bijoy and Bilal, they are not working together someone leaving at some point. It's not happening. They are saying that beam works through the time. How many days will beam finish the work if Bijoy and Bilal assist him every third day? So beam and Bijoy, they don't quit permanently, or they don't stay permanently. They go, they come back. They go, they come back. Very crucial to do it for one reason. We'll add that slight variant. But before that, let's get our stock right. So Bhim, Bijoy and Bilal, 24 days, 36 days, 72 days. Once again, I'm going to look at my total work. A number that is divisible by 24, 36 and 72. 36 into 2 is 72. 24 into 3 is 72. My LCM is 72. The number given here is my total work. We'll fix that. Now 24 units is taken to complete 72 units, 24 days, which is 3 units per day. Bijoy will do 2 units per day. Bilal will do 1 unit per day. But it's not going to be in pieces. My timeline is not fixed. For some period it is Beam and Bijoy, Bilal. We don't have anything as such. But on day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6. Just for understanding. All right. On the first day, Beam has worked through the time. By reading the question, I have understood that Beam works. Bijoy and Bilal, they come and help him out. So on the first day, Beam completes 3 units. On the second day, there is no one to help him out. He completes 3 units again. On the third day, Beam is there, but also Bijoy and Bilal. They also come and join him. But on the fourth day, these 2 buggers once again leave. They have something else to do. They go out, they hang out. On the fourth day, it's going to be Bhim again. On the fifth day, it is Bhim again. On the sixth day, and then Bijoy and Bilal feel like, hey, let's go and help out Bhim once again. They come back. So all 3 of them work. Or if I look at it here, 3 days, 3 units, 3 units, 6 units. 3 units, 3 units, 6 units. I take another 3 days cycle. I'll happen to get 3 units, 3 units, 6 units. Right? Or can I say this is one cycle? Or for every cycle, for one cycle, I am capable of getting 12 units from the 3 of them. 3 plus 3 plus 6. In one cycle of Beam being helped by Bijoy and Bilal, every third day, I can get 12 units. First cycle, it is 12 units. Second cycle, it is 12 units. Third cycle, it's 12 units. How many cycles will it take to complete 72 units? How many cycles will it take to complete 72 units? It will take 72 by 12, which is 6 cycles. But hey, each cycle is 3 days. By my understanding, one cycle is nothing but 3 days. We happen to have 6 cycles of work happening. If I do that into 3, you will get 18 days. And that is your answer. Clear? So we are looking at a case on case. Day 1 who worked, day 2 who worked, day 3 who worked, 4, 5, 6. And we try to figure out a pattern. And with that pattern, we try to solve the question. So I'll call one cycle to be 3 days. And in 3 days, we can get 12 units being done. I need 6 cycles to complete 72 units. But 6 cycles into 3 days is 18 days. And that is our answer. Now, this is how you actually do it. But is this the technique that we use every time? Sometimes there has to be a small layer happening here, but I'm not going to talk about that layer here. We'll reserve it for the next class. We'll talk about it. But to begin with, that's how we do it. One quick look at the chart. This ID cycling question. Atharv, I don't understand which ID cycling question. I think we are good here. Any doubts? Any questions? We'll jump on to the next ones, shall we? Go for it. Another one, nice one. Get going. Right. Gopal is 3 times as efficient as Hari and therefore finishes a job 40 days earlier than Hari. If they work together, in how many days can they finish the task? Right. So Gopal is 3 times as efficient as Hari. Beautiful. So we have the idea of their efficiency. Whatever Hari does, Gopal does 3 times the task. He is capable of doing 3 times that work. Or if I say Gopal and Hari, if Hari can do 1 unit per day, Gopal is capable of doing 3 units per day. Hari does 2 units a day, Gopal does 6 units a day. He is thrice as good, 3 times efficient as Hari, right? Or in simple words, can I say the ratio of Gopal to Hari's efficiency is 3:1? The ratio of Gopal to Hari's efficiency is 3:1. Hari does 1 unit, Gopal does 3 units. Gopal is 3 times as efficient as Hari. Now, this is efficiency. What is time then? Time of Gopal and Hari simply becomes 1:3. Yes. Time ratio will become 1:3. Now notice this, the efficiency ratio is 3:1 for Gopal and Hari. We know that if someone is more efficient, they reduce on time, or inversely proportional. 3:1 ratio becomes 1:3 because time and efficiency are inversely proportional. Or we can say if Gopal takes A days, Hari takes 3A days. Can we say that Gopal takes A days, Hari takes 3A days? Simple. There is one other data given. Gopal therefore finishes a job 40 days earlier than Hari. So the difference between Gopal and Hari, notice this, Gopal takes A days, Hari takes 3A days, or I can say difference between them is 2A days, right? Gopal finishes 2A days earlier than Hari. If I take 10 days to complete a task, Someone takes 30 days to complete their task. We say, I finished 20 days earlier than this person. Here, since they are variables, I say, Gopal takes A days, Hari takes 3 A days, or I can say, the difference between their times is 2 A days. But also by data, we know that's 40. Oops. 1 second. Yeah. By data, we know that's 40 days. Or can we say 2A is equal to 40 or A is equal to 20 days? Can we say this? The difference between their times by variable is 2A. Their difference between in their time by data is 40. I'm simply equating them. 2A is equal to 40, A equals to 20. Now I know the values. Gopal is A days, or we can say G is equal to 20 days. H is 3 times that value, which is 60 days. So the total work will become 60 units. LCM of 20 and 60 once again. So Gopal will do 3 units per day. Hari will do 1 unit per day. Both together will do 4 units per day. But the question says, how many days can they complete the job together? So which is 60 by 4 has to be 15 days. Are we good here? Simple ideas once again. You hang on, you get the gist of it, you read the question, you get your data right. Hey, we all are through. Read the signs. Now, I tell this to people, there is a very popular opinion that it's hard to understand a bunch of things. It's hard to understand women. It is not hard to understand quant questions. It's not at least that tough. It is tricky at times, I get it. But it is not as tricky as we all think about. Clear? We'll hop on to the next question now. Beautifully. Again, another 2 minutes. And then we'll do it. One quick check, folks. Are you comfortable with my pace? Sometimes I do get a bit carried away. I might be a little fast. I know I always have this. Sometimes the moment I feel like I don't get questions, I feel like you have gotten comfortable with the flow, I might get a bit carried away. So in case if you want me to repeat again, if you want me to slow down a bit, if you want me to explain it again, feel free to ask. You have every right to ask. Asking is your right. Answering is my will and I will. Anand, I guess you do get DPP material for this batch. Yeah, that is there. These help in LOD1, and doing LOD1 should help me in being able to do LOD2, right? That's how it happens, man. You crack the prelims, you crack the mains. You don't jump to 12th grade straight away. You take it step by step. So this is going to be your toddler steps. So this is where you begin. You get comfortable, you then go to the next level of difficulty. You get a gist of it, and then you move on. Get the DPPs, solve them. Always have this feel in your head that sometimes the DPP material, you should be able to get 6 to 7 questions, 5 to 6 questions generally on your very first go. Sometimes people feel like you get a bit lost. You get 5-6 questions in your first go. That is a good number to begin with. So worry not. Get the DPPs, get it. Tune into the next class. Maybe you, whatever you missed in your DPP for this class, maybe you do that class, you get some other ideas, and then you can go back and hit it. End of the day, don't feel bad that you haven't solved the question, you haven't understood the question. It happens. It is an organic process. It doesn't happen impulsive. It's not an impulsive habit. It doesn't happen. It doesn't come to you overnight. You sleep, a spider bites you, you become Spider-Man. It doesn't happen in real life. You attend this class, you sleep, you wake up, you become a master of time and work. It doesn't happen. But take it step by step. LOD 1, LOD 2, gradually you will build it. Right. Irfan can complete a job in 6 days and Jay in 9 days. They agree to complete the work for 3,600. With the help of Kumar, they finish it in 3 days. How much should Kumar be paid? Every time I get a question on splitting your wages based on work, I happen to ask this question. On what basis do we split? Should we split on the basis of the days worked, or should we split it on the basis of their efficiency? My standard answer will always be split it on the basis of work done. No matter what the condition is, total work completed, split it across 3 people. Amount of work done by X, amount of work done by Y, amount of work done by Z will be the ratio in which you split it. The special cases will be where they worked for the same time or they worked for the same efficiency. In those cases, efficiency and time period will be the ratio. But in general, amount of work done. Look here, all 3 of them worked for 3 days, which means all 3 of them worked for the same time. All you have to do is then split the wages based on their efficiency. I'll do it so that we get an understanding. So Irfan can complete it in 6 days. Jay can complete it in 9 days. Kumar, not Kumar, with the help of Kumar, which means I plus J plus K is equal to 3 days. Once again, I'm going to take my total work to be LCM of 6, 9 and 3, 18 units nicely. So this is 3 units per day. This is 2 units per day. This is 1 unit per day. Right. Now, I know that all 3 of them worked for 3 days only. Oops, give me a minute. All 3 of them worked for 3 days, which means whatever the efficiency in which they work will be the ratio in which they will complete the work, right? Imagine this. If I take it as an example, let's say there is a job, there is a task. You complete the task, you get 100 rupees. You and me, you are there on the other side of the camera, assume that you and me, we are working on this work. They pay you 100 rupees to complete the task. We complete the task and we take 50-50, will that be fair? Do you think that's a fair split? I have 100 rupees as a work task. We split it as 50-50. Will that be a fair split? In your head it will say, hey, sounds like a fair split here, man. I like the idea of being 50-50. But imagine, let's say there were 10 units to be completed. You completed 8, I completed 2. Will you give me 50-50 now? Think. If you still give me 50-50, I will take it. But do you have the heart to do it out? No, right? That seems to be a bit unfair. You completed 8. I completed 2. It should be in the ratio of 8:2, which is 4:1. So you take 4 parts, I take 1 part. It has to be 80-20, right? If I say I worked for 3 days, you also worked for 3 days, will we get the same salary? No. I will be paid on my efficiency rate. You will be paid on your efficiency rate. The ratio of our efficiencies matter. But our efficiencies are same. Will the salary be same? It depends on time. That is why in general my head will say total work done is a standard format. Total work done by P, Q and R. I, J, K, A, B, C, X, Y, Z. But if the question has something in common, here time is common. So I will take the ratio to be of I:J:K as 3:2:1. Clear? If the times were different, then I would have gone for the work, amount of work done. I'll show you one example. We'll do that. We'll probably go back to the first slide that we had and we'll see how we can do that. We'll solve this question. We'll jump onto that and see what we can do. Now think about this. Total work is 3,600. Sometimes I have this problem. Total work is 3,600. We have 6 parts. That will give me 3,600. But I need it for K, which is 1 out of the 6 parts into 3,600. That will be 600 rupees. Clear? Are we good with this idea now? Any questions, any doubts? $3,600 by 6, 600 units. But here comes my question. Oops. Now if I look at this question here, now let's take this question. I'd love to solve this quickly for a glance. Now imagine to complete this work, I give 6,000. The total project is worth 6,000 here. PQR ratio, I'm just going to quickly write it. 10, Q is 12, R is 15. I know this is 6 units per day, 5 units per day and 4 units per day, right? We found out that, I'm just quickly running through all the part. PQR for 2 days, QR for 2 days, R for 3 days. This is what we know. Now here, will we split this 6,000 as, 6:5:4 ratio for the 6,000? Will we do that here? Will you say 4 out of the entire 15 parts goes to R? Should we say that? Think. Now here it will not be the case. Why? They did not work for the same time. They should have worked for the same time for you to take the efficiency ratio. But here, imagine this. R worked for 7 days. That's a concern. Someone who has worked for a longer time probably deserves a better price, right? Maybe his efficiency is less enough, someone else backs him better. But working 4 units of 7 days is not as same as working 6 units of 2 days. This is where we split it in terms of work done. So what is P done? P works for 2 days of 6 units. Q works for 4 units of 5 days. 4 days of 5 units. R works 7 days of 4 units. 12, 20, 28. This is the ratio in which we will split it. So R gets an equivalent of 28 parts of the entire 60 parts. So keep an eye on what is being asked, how it is being executed. Don't blindly stick to efficiency ratio, salary ratio. time ratio, salary ratio. In short, work done ratio, salary ratio. That's where it all begins. Clear? Are we good with this now? We'll probably solve a couple of more questions. Go for this, maybe 2 more. I'd love to do all 10 of them, but then we are also slightly falling behind time. I don't want to keep you awake for a long. Let's do this. Ekta is asking for Quant, what else should we do apart from this batch to crack CAT? Obviously practice. No prizes for guessing. You should definitely practice. Attend classes, learn all the basic funda, keep doing all the basic concepts of each and every topic. Go back, practice, see if you can put in some effort on your own to learn more. To do that, maybe in another 2-3 months you can start giving your mocks, analyze, feedback, review, go back, take mocks. That's a basic cycle. We'll talk about it extensively when we do a couple of more classes. Quantum Lord edits are new, sir. I didn't understand that question. I think you have missed out something over there, so you might have to retype and ask. Right, we'll do this now. Lalit can complete a piece of work in 4 hours. Manoj and Nitin can do it in 3 hours, while Lalit and Nitin can complete it in 2 hours. How long will Manoj alone take to complete the work? Nice idea. We'll take this. Lalit can do it in 4 hours. Manoj plus Nitin can do it in 3 hours. Whereas Lalit and Nitin can do it in 2 hours. They are asking me Manoj alone how many hours? Once again, let's do this. Total work, once again, I want the LCM of 4, 3 and 2, which is 12. 12 units. In 4 hours, Lalit will do 3 units per hour. Manoj and Nitin can do 4 units per hour. Lalit and Nitin can do 6 units per hour. Sorry, per hour. I've written day here. So Lalit, 12 units in 4 hours is 3 units an hour. 12 units in 3 hours is 4 units an hour. 12 units in 2 hours is 6 units an hour. Now look at these two. I have something to work with. I notice that Lalit alone can do 3 units an hour. But Lalit along with Nitin can give me 6 units in an hour. From here I can easily infer that Nitin is capable of doing 3 units per hour as well. Nitin is also capable of doing 3 units an hour. I'm going to take this over here now. Manoj and Nitin together can do 4 units in 1 hour. But Nitin alone can do 3 units per hour, which again gives me an inference that Manoj is capable of doing 1 unit per hour. In that case, he would have taken 12 hours alone to complete the task. Right? Are we good here? Once again, layers. The question might change. Who leaves, who does, who comes in, all that changes. The structure all remains the same. So hang on to that. You will start getting better. Right. Another quick question. When should I start giving mocks? Neeru, an ideal time to begin mocks is late May. Maybe in May you can give a mock or two. From June, I usually recommend to give at least 3 mocks a month. June, July, May, June, July should be 3 mocks a month. That's where you start. August, September, October should be 4 mocks a month for sure. 1 mock a week is what I usually tell. That's a strong recommendation that most of us say. In November, starting from November, at least in the mid of November, we usually stop giving mocks. At those cases, October mid to November mid, you might probably give 2 mocks a week. You stop with 2 mocks a week. I'll tell you the cons of doing more than 2 mocks a week. Worst case scenario, you do 3. If you are really good, if you are really comfortable doing it, you go to 3, not more than 3. I'll tell you the pros and cons, not pros. Obviously, there are more cons than pros when you do more than 3 mocks a week. We'll talk about that when we talk about strategic preparation and how to strategize your mocks. But to begin with, this is a number, a rough number that I usually give. Sorry for asking too many questions. That's fine, Anand. But the English batch on main MBA Wallah channel and this and that are the same level, right? Yeah, of course. Like same level of lectures depth wise. Absolutely, Anand. The only difference is there it is in vernacular, Hindi and English. Here it will all be English. Absolutely English. 100% English. That's English and Hindi. That's the only difference. Maybe you might see a change in faculty, but what we teach is the same. How we teach might change. Obviously, there's a style quotient. I might do something in one particular way. You will find Rahul sir, Vikrant sir doing something in a different way. They have their own styles of delivering their ideas. They all are different, but conceptually, content wise, they all happen to be the same. Mayank Tripati says, can you please teach us DI? We'll talk about it, Mayank. Now I want to focus on quant here first. Let's establish something. Let's see if that is there on the back to grab some other type. For now, to begin with, let's stick with quants. Aryan says, sir, this class is in English, but I easily connect with you. You speak very friendly. Thank you. Thank you. Language is a mere way of connecting with folks, people. It all depends on what you deliver and how you do it. Oh, sorry. Forgot to display the next question, right? I should have done that. Thought I did. We'll probably sign off with this question. I think we have had enough time. We'll do that. Have a look at this, have a go at it. We'll talk. Athar, I'm soon to start my own Telegram channel. Once I do, I'll give you the QR codes. You can join there. You can post your questions. We'll have a lot of discussions. We'll have banters. We'll do that. I haven't started yet. I'll get there. We'll get there, Athar. Don't worry. Nishu, beautiful question. Is memorizing tables essential? Nice question. It depends on what tables you're talking to me. I tell people at least you get comfortable with 1 into 1 to 9 into 9. The least. In my head, this is very important. I don't think you will be in a comfortable, I won't say you cannot crack, of course you have the calculator, but I don't think you will be good with your time management if you are going to pick your calculator to do 7 8s are 56. If I ask you what is 7 into 8 and if you pick a calculator to say 7 into 8 is 56, we have a problem there. If you do 13 into 7, if you pick a calculator for that, unfortunately, I will still have some questions over whether your time management will be good. You have to be comfortable doing 13 into 7. The least that I tell people is multiplication of any 2 digit with the 1 digit has to happen without calculators. It has to happen in your mind. Any 2 digit number to a 1 digit number, irrespective of the number, you should be comfortable doing it. I have a few techniques that I follow. We'll talk about split multiplication, benchmark multiplication, squares, roots. I have one set of ideas that I teach people. They are not your standalone. It helps you. It helps you reduce your time of solving a question. But I don't think if you are going to skip this part, your time management is in a good zone. So memorizing tables is mandatory, at least here. If I go a little beyond, I'll tell you tricks. Even if you haven't memorized them, you should be able to say them in seconds. That should be there. Saurabh says, I'm a fresher for CAT. Some suggestions that can help me for the exam. Have fun. I keep saying this. I think this is probably the 10th time in 2 days that I'm saying this. I will keep saying it. Anytime you learn for something, stay calm, have fun. You cannot pressurize yourself saying, I have to learn. It doesn't happen that way. Tell yourself, I don't know this. Be graceful enough to admit that you don't know something. The humility to admit should be there. Now when you have that, build that humility, you'll automatically say, yeah, now I don't know. What should I do to learn this? When you do that, you get better. So start from your basics, man. Gaurav, right? Saurav. Okay, Sardi Bhomika. Okay, Bhomika. The handles name are slightly tricky for me. Bhomika. So start basics. Stick to your fundamentals. I call it funda. I like saying it funda. Stick to your funda. Learn them. Start from scratch. If you are weak, if you feel like you are weak at something, strengthen it. Your learning part should always be about strengthening it. The more and more you do, the better and better you get it. You can start adding layers to it. But to begin with, my one-liner will always be, learn the basics. If you are a fresher, start from scratch. Be ready to put yourself down and then say, hey, I'm going to learn this. There is a nice attitude that someone actually taught me. Sometimes I follow this. When I sit in a class to learn something, I tell myself I'm the dumbest student in the class. And I sit there as an audience in a class. I tell myself I know nothing. Even if someone is teaching me something that I know, I'll tell myself I didn't know. Let me hear them out. When I stand in front of some people, bunch of people, you should always have this one slight point that you say, hey, I know one point that you folks might not be knowing. It is okay to have that slight positive arrogance. So as a teacher, as a performer, or as an audience, there are two different attitudes. When you say that you are new to something, with all humility you say, I don't know this. Even if you know it, you say, I don't know this, let me learn. So you do that. That's my first tip towards anything. Right, we'll do this question now. Great. Om can complete a piece of work in the same time in which Pavan and Quadir can do it. So there is a connection between one person and the other. Om can complete a piece of work at the same time. Pavan and Quadir together can do. If Om and Pavan together finish it in 10 days and Quadir alone can do it in 30 days, how many days will Pavan alone take? Now Om, time taken by Om is as same as Pavan and Quadir. I'm going to stick with this. That's a condition. That's a clue that is given. If Om and Pavan, O plus P, can do it in 10 days. And Quadir alone can do it in 30 days. Q alone can do it in 30 days. In how many days Pavan alone will Pavan alone take? Okay. So let's take the total work once again to be 30 units. This will be 3 units per day. This will be 1 unit per day. Now imagine this. There's nothing else given. O plus P can give me 3 units a day. Q alone can do 1 unit a day. And I'm like, hey, the connection is between O is equal to P plus Q. What do you do here? This is where you get this idea. If O does X units, P and Q together will also do X units, right? That's the clue. If O is capable of doing X units in one day, P and Q together will also do X units in one day. That's my idea. Or together they can do 2X units. That's my clue. Now think here. If I take O plus P plus Q, I will get 4 units per day. Notice this, here O is as same as P plus Q. From here what can I say? O does 2 units a day, P and Q also do 2 units a day. Get this logic there? Nicely done. P plus Q will do 2 units, O will also do 2 units because together they are capable of doing 4 units, which is equal when it comes to O as same as being P and Q. That's all I want. We are not looking at anything else. Now the question is about Pavan. Now notice this, Q alone can do 1 unit, Q and P together can do 2 units. From here we can nicely say Pavan does 1 unit per day, or he would take 30 days to complete my entire work. Clear? Beautiful idea. Once again, you go to the root of it, you understand the logic is all that matters. If I understood the question, if I understood that one condition that it is being given, how do I get through it? The moment you do it, I think we all have this comfort of doing it. All that we need is hang on and then say, nice, how do I do it better? Right? Any doubts? Good here. I think we have taken quite some time. I said class was supposed to be an hour, taken a little more than an hour. And then I think we have pretty much covered all the ground necessities for you to understand about time and work. Right? Are we good here? Let me take some questions before we sign off. Any questions? Anand says, how does this batch progress? Like the planner says, only 1 lecture per session per topic. So when do we tackle the higher level of concepts and questions? When will the syllabus be completed? We'll start it pretty soon, Anand. We are starting with some basic level fundamental classes. Once we get through that, we'll start doing questions. We'll start doing all the conceptual ideas. We'll amp it up to cat level. We'll do some tricky questions. We'll teach you, we'll discuss about all the nuances that's needed to solve. We'll go there. To begin with, this is where we are. Right, Anand? Any other questions, folks? All right then. We'll then sign it off here. It has been great to meet you. Thank you for being a nice audience. We said 1 hour, but then we ended up doing 2 hours of class, and you all stayed up. You all showed up. You all stuck with it. It shows a lot of commitment, which is great. One thing that's needed to crack this test is obviously commitment. I tell discipline and commitment are inevitable. It has to be there. You guys have showed up. You guys have stuck here. It's been great. Show up every day. Learn something new. Feel confident. Do better. Right. We'll stop here. We'll see you in the next class. Until then, signing off, Bhaskar.